Are the ice caps melting? The ice caps in Antarctica and Greenland have been melting over the last 20 years. The mass of Antarctica has been decreasing by 148 billion metric tons per year since 2002. Greenland's mass has been decreasing much faster, at a rate of 279 billion metric tons per year. Without intervention, it is expected that more than a third of the glaciers that we have left will melt before the year 2100. The ice caps and glaciers help Earth to stay cool because they reflect extra heat back into space. This is resulting in the general temperature of the planet to increase over time. So far, 95% of the ice in the Arctic is gone. This includes some of the oldest and thickest ice. This is changing the landscape of our world dramatically. With all of the ice melting, there is an increase in water, hence why sea levels are rising. Rising sea levels are responsible for more erosion on the coasts and violent storms such as hurricanes and typhoons. The ice melting in Greenland has contributed to 20% of the current sea level rise. The average global sea level has risen between 4 and 8 inches in the past 100 years, rising more rapidly in recent years than in the past 2,000 to 3,000 years. This will cause changes all over the coastlines around the world. Melting is also causing carbon dioxide and methane to release from the soil into the air, known as greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. This is happening because the permafrost has been thawing over time. Permafrost is a very thick layer of soil that is below the Earth's surface. It stays frozen throughout the year and it stores carbon dioxide. Permafrost can only be created by ground that has been frozen for 2 consecutive years. Therefore, it is very difficult to stop if the Earth is heating up. With temperatures rising, the permafrost is melting and carbon and methane are releasing into the air. The warming of oceans causes ocean currents to slow down, which can disturb weather patterns all over the world. This is causing the polar vortex to periodically reappear. The polar vortex is an area where there is low pressure due to an expansion of swirling cold air in the polar regions. This also makes it much harder for sea life to survive. To avoid copyright issues, I have attached a URL to a YouTube video from The Guardian. It further discusses how the melting of ice caps is detrimental to our world. Scientists say that the increasingly rapid melting of the polar ice caps risks triggering 19 climate tipping points, which will have catastrophic effects on our world and ecosystems. Some of these tipping points include growth in vegetation on tundra, higher releases of greenhouse gases, and shifts in snow distribution that warms the ocean and affects climate patterns. The ice caps melting affect a variety of animals like polar bears, walruses, Arctic foxes, snowy owls, reindeer, and others. As animals such as walruses are losing their homes and polar bears are having to spend more time on land. This is also causing more issues between polar bears and people. It is also affecting animals that depend on them as well. This has also caused issues within the fisheries. Countries that rely heavily on their fishing industry for income are being directly affected. Fish are having to change when and where they may reproduce, which is detrimental to these jobs and countries' economies. Countries are also spending millions of dollars trying to recover from floods and intense storms, only for more to come. This has and will continue to affect millions of animals and humans who are living in these areas, especially if we don't take action. In order for us to slow down the melting of the ice caps, we need to collectively take action. One way to do this is through reducing carbon emissions. This can be done through laws and regulations that limit the amount of carbon usage people and businesses are able to take advantage of. A second way to reduce the amount of carbon in the air is to plant trees in the tropics. Much of the rainforests are being depleted by deforestation. By planting trees in these areas, it will help pull carbon dioxide out of the air. Lastly, we should be teaching people how to be more environmentally efficient. By taking time in schools and classes for students to learn about these things, they'll become better educated and more proactive about helping our environment.